welcome back. I'm Tally, and today we're going to go through my Reddit 2025 bingo board. So for those of you who don't know, our fantasy on Reddit do a yearly book bingo. It drops on the 1st of April and it runs till the end of March the following year. So the new one has just dropped. The last few years I've enjoyed building TBRs for it. I have yet to complete it. Well, I mean, possibly I could have completed it unintentionally, but I usually kind of forget about it halfway through the year and then just stop tracking my books. And I've done a lot of kind of loose TBRs in the past, including like, at the end of the month I'll just see if anything fits. Not this year. This year I'm taking it seriously. This year I'm going to do it, and I'm going to complete the hard mode. It's going to happen, and I'll tell you how it's going to happen. There's 25 prompts, and 13 of those prompts are being fulfilled with books that I physically already own, and then there's a few more that are being fulfilled by audiobooks that I already own. I literally went through, and for as many prompts as I could, I picked a book that I already own, because I know the goal of this is to read outside your comfort zone, but also if I already have books that are just sitting here, why not encourage myself to pick them up sooner to fulfill prompts? So I'm feeling positive. Famous last words. So what is the bingo challenge? Well, you get, as I said, you get 25 prompts. They have an easy mode, then they have a hard mode, and for, I think it's called hero mode, you're supposed to review them. Review the book on Reddit. I never normally do that. So we shall see. I might try. That might be the particular challenge I do, to try and be more engaged on Reddit. I've dipped in and out on a few things, like some of the book club books. I don't do it every month. It's just if there's a book that one of the book clubs is doing that interests me, I'll dip in then. But generally I'm not that involved in the community, but I might try this year. So without further ado, let's just get on with it. Also, before we get started, I have a horrible cold, so if I sound like I'm more out of breath than normal, I apologise. I'm gonna sit, like, shuffle over. The board's gonna go here. Editing, Natalie, you've got this. I'm proud of you. Right. So the first one is Knights and Paladins, and this is to read a book where one of the protagonists is a paladin or knight, and the hard mode is the character has an oath or promise to keep. Now for this one, this is going to be one of the ones I don't physically own, but I've heard a few people talk about it and I'm really interested, and that is Between Two Fires by Christopher Berlman. So this is a historical fantasy. Obviously it's got knights in it. The second prompt is a hidden gem, and this is a book with under 1,000 ratings on Goodreads. New release and arcs from popular authors do not count, following the spirit of the square. The hard mode is published more than 5 years ago. I actually have the perfect book for this, and I knew straight away. My son was helping me put together this TBR, and I was like, I know it, it looks like this, go find it on my shelf. But that is Of Craft and Honour and A Templar's Chronicles by George Gregory Buttigieg. Me and my partner lived in Malta for a year. We moved back when we found out we were pregnant with our oldest, and I bought this when we lived in Malta, so I knew that this was at least 7 years old, because that's how old my son is. I bought it when we went to Valletta Cathedral, and I've been meaning to read this. It's kind of giving me like Da Vinci Code vibes, which, yeah, I'm here for that. So this book is set in 1307, and it follows a time period when all of the Templars in France are arrested, and then some holy documents go on like a little tour of the world, and someone's trying to find them or something. Look, it's giving me Da Vinci Code vibes. That's it. That's all I need to know, and it's been on my shelf for so long, and I need to read it. It's got these really gorgeous sections as well that are like, obviously parts of the documents, so they're yellowed paper, and it has this little chronicles bit, so at least I love that kind of vibe. It makes me really excited to pick up a book. Next is Published in the 80s, and this is a book that was published during the 80s, and the hard mode is written by an author of colour. I was really disappointed because I was like, do you know what's on my TBR this year that would be perfect for this? Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Ran and got it. So excited. Originally published in 79. That. But it's okay, because there's another book that's on my TBR. And that is Beloved by Tori Morrison. I have had this on my TBR for so long. I have literally not heard a single negative thing about this book from anyone that's read it. And this is a historical magical realism book. I have had this author on my want to read for so long, and I feel like this is the best one to go into because it is like her most raved about book. Prompt 4 is a high fashion book, and this is read a book where clothing or fashion or fibre arts are important to the plot. This can be a crafty main character or a setting where fashion itself is explored. And the hard mode, a main character makes clothes or fibres. I got this from the suggestions on Reddit, so I don't know 100%, and there were some discussions about whether or not it would fulfill hard mode, so I'm going to risk it. And I've put in I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. I know that this follows a group of women, 39 women, who are kept in isolation underground. There's some people there who don't even have a memory of not being there, and then they, I think, escape or something. Obviously they make their own clothes, but from what I could gather, the modesty of the clothes and like the style of the clothes is very important to them, as it's kind of their way of keeping some form of humanity or society on their side. So I think that would fulfill the prompt. It's not a huge book, so you know, if I read this and it doesn't fulfill it, I would hopefully have time to grab something else, or something else might come up. Square number 5 is Down with the System, and this is to read a book in which the main plot revolves around disrupting a system, and the hard mode is not a governmental system. And for this, I've got The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. I've actually started this ages ago. I would restart it. So it's about like the dismantling is of a library system and the kind of gods that run it. So this is definitely perfect for this prompt, and I've been meaning to read this for so long. It is fantasy horror adjacent. It's quite gory. There is like a god of war, and you know, he's very brutal in how he talks. This one I just need to get off my TBR because I know I'm gonna love it. Well, that's the problem. I'm anticipating it's a 5 stars, so now I'm scared. Prompt number 6 is Impossible Places. Read a book that is set in a location that would break a physicist, the geometry, the volume, the directions, etc. A hard mode, at least 50% of the book takes place within the impossible place. And I believe that this would work because my understanding is this is set within a labyrinth-esque house. And we follow Piranesi's kind of internal monologue as he kind of walks around the house. That's all I know. By Susanna Clarke. I absolutely loved The Strange Case of Dr. Norrell and Jonathan Strange, which I read last year. And this will not be as much of a Herculean task because it's not like 800 pages on like that book. Been on my TBR for a while, been on my shelves for a while, and it was perfect for this prompt. A book in parts. Read a book that is separated into large sections within the main text. This could include things like acts, plays, days, years, etc. And the book, hard mode is the book has 4 or more parts. I am going to be reading Tress of the Emerald Sea, and this is my first Brandon Sanderson. So I'm looking forward to picking this up. I have started it. I'm like, literally like 12 pages in or something, so I will just restart it. So it counts as reading it in April. I had a quick flick through. It has 6 parts, and I'm looking forward to reading this. If you are a Brandon Sanderson fan, what are your opinions on this one in particular? Square number 8 is Gods and Pantheons, and this is read a book featuring divine beings, and the hard mode is there are multiple pantheons involved. This one I did struggle with. I have picked one. If I can't get hold of it, I might be looking for alternatives. So please, if you have any recommendations, if you have any suggestions for any of these squares or prompts, please let me know in the comments, just in case any of these don't work out. But I picked Gardens of the Moon by Stephen Erickson. This is the first in the Malazan series, which I've been toying with the idea of picking up. Primarily because I'm already in a lot of large series and I've really got to get them finished. But this is what I'm picking for this. Please let me know. Please let me know. And speaking of series of like big books or big series that I'm currently reading, the next one is last in the series, read the final entry in a series, and Hard Mode is the series is 4 more books long. I am about to start the second book in this series, so the 4th book is going on this list, and that is Wrath by John Gwynne, and this is the Faithful and the Fallen series. I will be reading this all this year. As I said, I'm about to start the second book. First book I really loved, so I'm looking forward to seeing where this series goes. It's kind of like medieval inspired. I don't know. It was just really fun. Okay, I don't have the brain power to do too much talking about these books today. But this is my one for the last book in the series, because I will be finishing this series this year. The next square is a book club or read along book. Read a book that was officially or is officially a group read on our fantasy. So they have, I think it's six different book clubs. Some of them run every month. Some of them are alternating months. And I always check at the beginning of the month to see if there's anything that catches my fancy. The problem with them is they give you the options. They often give you the options with only like a week or so notice, which for me often doesn't work, which is crazy considering I'm a bit of a mood reader. But the hard mode is to participate in one of the read-alongs. So you actually comment on it, etc. And as I said, I have done this previously. So I think I will easily do this. I just don't know what the book's going to be. I'll just wait until something tickles my fancy or a book comes up that I physically own and I'm like, yes, great, I will do that. For the next prompts, this is one of those ones that I got as a recommendation from Reddit, and I, having not read it, I'm not 100% sure. Reddit. I'm not 100% sure if it fulfills the prompt, so please, again, let me know if it does. But this is a parent protagonist. Read a book where the main character has a child to care for. The child does not have to be biologically related to the character. And then the hard mode is the child is also a major character in the story. So I've gone with God Killer by Hannah Kana, because this was, someone did suggest this for hard mode. And I have this gorgeous copy that I need to read. So yeah, hopefully it does fulfill the hard mode. If not, I'll have to find another one. What I might try and do is, any of the books I've picked that I'm not 100% sure they fulfill the hard mode, I might try and read them earlier on in the year, so I've got time to find an alternative if I need to. Next is a epistolary book. The book must prominently feature any of the following: a diary or journal entries, letters, messages, newspaper clippings, transcripts, etc. I love a mixed media book, and the hard mode is the book is told entirely in that format. And I have the 3rd of the Emily Wilde's series, so Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett to read. This is the final in the trilogy. I am going to be reading it this month, in fact, and this is written in diary letter, the form of diary entries by Emily, so perfect for this prompt. And I finish a series which helps me in my yearly bingo, and I cannot wait to find out what happens. I only recently finished the second one, and I was like, I need to go to the third. I can't leave it, as I'm opt to do. But yeah. And then for prompt 13, we have published in 2025, a book published for the first time in 2025. Hard Mode, it's a debut novel. So this one, I just went and looked at my NetGalley approvals, which I need to sort out. Episode 2 of Project 80% coming soon. Make sure to go check out episode 1 if you haven't watched it already. But I have Boys with Sharp Teeth by Jenny Howell there, and this is a dark academia thriller, a YA, and all I know is it's queer, and it's a debut about revenge and forbidden desires and sinister secrets. Is set in an elite boarding school. Done, ticked off all the things I love to hear about, and there we go, I'm reading that one. For prompt 14, it is an author of colour. Read a book written by a person of colour, and the hard mode is to read a horror novel. This one was a bit of an easy one for me because I primarily read horror. The new release by Stephen Graham Jones came out end of last month, and I will be reading this ASAP. The Buffalo Hunter, so that will be my one for this one. A small press or self-published book. So this is a book published by small press or self-published. So the hard mode is the book has under 100 ratings on Goodreads. I am going to read That Damned Witch by C.J. Rose. This is a fantasy romance. CJ Rose I follow on Threads, and the marketing that they have done for this book, I put this straight into my KU library and I'm going to read it for this prompt. Prompt 16 is a biopunk book. So read a book that focuses on biotechnology and or its consequences. And the hard mode is there is no electricity based technology. I have it on good authority that this will fulfill this prompt as hard mode, and that is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is on my TBR for the next couple of months anyway, so I will find out very soon if it does fulfill the prompt. But this is a fantasy mystery. It's got queer representation. I've heard a lot of great things, so I am anticipating I will love it. For prompt 17, it's Elves and or Dwarfs. Read a book that features the classical fantasy archetypes of elves and or dwarfs. They don't have to fit the classic tropes, but they must be named either elves and or dwarfs, or be easily identified as such. And the hard mode is the main character is an elf or a dwarf. So I am going to read The Flowered Blade by Taylor Hubbard. This is a book I did start at the... Oh, you're going to join me. Okay, lovely. This is a queer romance, and we follow two main characters, and one of them is an elf, so it fulfills the hard mode. I did start this at the end of March, but I am 11% through, so I'm just going to start again, and it counts. And speaking of a queer book, the next prompt is a LGBTQIA plus protagonist. This is read a book where the main character falls under the umbrella. Hard mode, the character is marginalised in at least one other axis, such as a person of colour, disability, religious affiliation. I'm going to be reading Shene Lende by Darcy Little Badger. So this is a prequel to Ilatsue, which I read a couple of years ago and I absolutely love. Ilatsue is our main character, and she is asexual, and she is also of Indigenous descent as well, so it fits the hard mode, and I'm very excited to go back into this world. Ilatsue was such a fun read. If you haven't checked it out, I do really recommend it. The main character in Ilatsue was, I think, 13, so it is like that younger age range, but it's still so enjoyable. Prompt 19 is 5 SFF short stories. So any short SFS story will count as long as there are 5 of them. Hard mode is to read an entire anthology or collection. I have an audiobook for The Sea Gives Up the Dead by Molly Olgren, and this has I don't know how many stories in it, but I'm planning on listening to the whole thing, so this will fulfill the prompt, and it is dark fairy tale-esque short stories. Prompt 20 is one of those ones that I worked out the recommendation from doing lots of Googling, so this is one that I'm not 100% sure will fulfill the prompt, so please let me know if it does or doesn't if you've read the book. This is A Stranger in a Strange Land. Read a book that deals with being a foreigner in a new culture. The character or characters, if they're a group, must either be visiting or moving in as a minority. In a hard mode is the main character is a migrant or refugee. I have Blackwater Sister by Zen Cho on my TBR. I've been meaning to read this for a while. I read Spirits Abroad by her last year and I loved it. And I saw one comment saying this would fulfill the hard mode. So if you read this, please let me know if it does. Prompt 21 is to recycle a bingo square. Use a square from a previous year as long as it doesn't repeat on the current card, and the hard mode is to do the hard mode of the original square. So I'm going to do the square from last year, which was to spend it takes place underground or at sea, and the hard mode was 50% of it. I'm going to read, because I'm currently reading it and I know it fulfills, Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinnerman, and this takes place in a dungeon underground, the whole book. He's only above ground for like one chapter, so this whole series would fulfill this. For a cozy SFF book, this is a square I was excited to see. This is my jam. So cozy is up to your preferences and what you might find comfort in, but the genre typically features relatable characters, low stakes, minimal conflict, happy ending, etc. Hard mode is an author that's new to you. So this author isn't new to me, as in I follow her on all of the socials, but this will be the first time I've read one of her books, and that is Can't Spell Treason Without T by Rebecca Fawn. I have this gorgeous Waterstones edition, and I cannot wait to pick this up. I'm building up quite a Rebecca Fawn collection, and I've yet to pick them up, and I know I'm going to love them, so this is the perfect one for this square. Prompt 23 sounds like it'd be an easy one, but I actually found it to be quite hard to find a book that I hadn't already read. I thought of a lot of books, but I'd already read them all, and this is generic title. So read a book that has one or more of the following words in the title: blood, bone, broken, court, dark, shadow, song, sword, or throne, or thrones. Hard mode was the title contains more than one of those listed words, or contains at least one word and a colour, number, or animal. Yeah, so I thought of loads that I'd already read, and I did struggle to find one I haven't read, but then I remembered I have this chunky scary boy, which is the broken binding edition of the Dragon Bone Chair. So this fulfills hard mode. It's huge and it's scary, but I'm trying to read the books I have on my shelf. So, oh, this is that series that I was complaining that the font is terrible on my eyes. So this is by Tad Williams. I don't know much about it. I think it's kind of classic fantasy-esque, and I have 4 books from Broken Binding sitting, the 4-book series sitting there, so this will be the first book in the series. Prompt 24 is quite an interesting one this year, and it's not a book. So do something new besides reading a book. Watch a TV show, play a game, learn how to summon a demon, spend time with fantasy, sci-fi or horror in another format. Movies, video games, etc. all count. There's no rule. The only kind of rule is it has to be new to you. So I went through my Steam library and found that I have Little Nightmares waiting to be played. So that will be what I will play here. And the hard mode is to review it on Reddit, which should be simple enough, hopefully. And then finally, we have Pirates. Read a book where characters engage in piracy, and the hard mode is they're not seafaring pirates. And it took me longer than it should have come up with this, because one of the things I love most in books, and I'm always asking for recommendations, is flying ships. And I was like, how did it take me so long to remember the sky pirates exist? But anyway, I am going to be reading The Red Scholar's Wake by Alette de Bodard, and this one has been sitting there for a while. It's a lovely fairy Illumicrate edition, sorry. And this follows some sky pirates. We follow 2 of them. It's queer, and it's set against the backdrop of interstellar war against piracy. So it's perfect for this prompt. So there we have it. That is my current TBR for the 2025 edition of Reddit Bingo. If any of these do not fulfill the prompts, and you know that for a fact, please let me know. If there's any recommendations you have, or any books that you think that other people should pick up for any of these prompts, please let me know in the comments. Are you taking part? I would love to hear from you. And make sure to like this video if you like, subscribe if you want to keep up to date with my other videos that are upcoming. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you soon. Bye, friends.